I did my first Section 8 property in 2009. For those of you who are not aware, Section 8 is a government program, right? That provides housings for people, and they're going to subsidize the rent or they're going to pay 100% of the rent. Okay. Now, as far as the program, I'm going to break it down to let you know the pros and cons. And some people love it. Some people hate it. Everybody has their own opinion. Me, it doesn't bother me. If I got a vacant property, I don't prefer a Section 8 tenant over a cash tenant or a cash tenant over a Section 8 tenant. Whatever person likes my place and they qualify, they can rent my place as long as they go through the process of the property management company. All right. Because I'm going to get paid regardless if it's the person with cash or the person with Section 8, right? I don't manage my residential properties unless they're room rentals or Airbnb. Now, one of the pros of Section 8 is you're going to have a plethora of tenants, right? You go down to the Section 8 office in your city. If you don't know where it's at, I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I would Google Section 8 Charlotte, North Carolina, and they'll have an address to the building, etc. Or you can call down there. Now, with calling down there, introducing yourself, they don't know you. So they don't know if you're a slumlord, if you're somebody who just wants, their money and not do right by the tenant. So they're not going to recommend you, right? They're not going to recommend you. That's a relationship that has to get built up. But they have a whole book of people who are constantly looking for housing. And once you build up that relationship where they'll let you know, yeah, we got a person looking for it. Is that right if I pass your number on, et cetera? And you say, yeah, then, they would recommend their person, whatever, and they'll come look at your spot and you can do what you gotta do. But it's a lot of tenants that need it, right? And I just think that, you have a nice selection to choose from with the Section 8 tenants. Now, one of the cons of it, you will have to deal with an inspection up front and yearly inspections. So I know most of you are saying that, hey, that doesn't scare me having inspections. Well, what happens is, right, with the first inspection, that's petty. If you have a crack in your siding on your house, they can say, oh, no, we don't want our tenant here. Even though that piece of siding does not harm the integrity of the property still insulates and everything. They can be that petty, and they will, and I've dealt with that before. Now, of course, things like painting over electrical outlets, you have to change those outlets. I mean, I get that. This person should have a nice property, and I don't know why some painters just paint over the outlet, instead of painting around it in 2025. But there's certain things I get. Now, you do yearly inspections. Now, with the yearly inspections, right, here's the issue, dude. Their tenant breaks something, you have to pay for it and fix it so that they can start paying you again for the next year. All right? Their tenant. Not you broke it, they broke something. So let's say if they come out and they inspect, say, hey, man, the cabinet broke. The cabinet broke? What? It was working when they moved in, but oh no, it's 50% of the cabinet door is gone. Well, they did it. No, well, hey, listen, you got to fix that. You want to get paid, etc. So, yeah, doing those yearly inspections can be petty, and a lot of people don't like to deal with them because it's like, yo, your tenant breaks something, and I got to pay for it. So, and we're in the market now where you can get a good paying cash tenant that's going to stay there for, 5, 7, 8 years. Of course, another pro is you're going to get guaranteed income, right? You're going to get guaranteed income, meaning that if you manage a property yourself, like every day on X date that you're going to get this amount, right? You should know that. So that's a pro. A con is if there's ever a government shutdown, you're not going to get paid until the government shutdown is over. Now, here's the thing. A lot of landlords are just mom and pops, right? And they don't have a plethora of money saved up, so they need that money to pay the mortgage. So that's something to keep in mind, with this. Like, yes, you are affected by government shutdowns or state shutdowns programs when they can't come to an agreement with the House. A con is if they tear up your property, right? And normally after they tear up your property, sometimes they leave. And if they tear it up, the government won't pay. No, they're not going to pay for it to get fixed up. And the tenant just moves on. Now, in some cases, the tenant could lose their voucher for acting like that. But hey, if that's your place, then you have to pay for it to get fixed up and move on. And, I know Section 8 gets a bad rap. You can get great tenants. Like, I had great tenants and I had terrible tenants. But let me tell you, man, some of those terrible tenants, man, whether they are Section 8 or even just cash, man, they can tear your stuff up. Man, I've been in houses and that, like, how do you break granite? I didn't even know you can break granite. But the only way you can break a granite countertop if you get a sledgehammer. And literally, that was when I was talking to the seller. They was like, yo, we had a particular a Section 8 tenant here, and they broke their stuff. That's why I want to get out the rental business and sell the property. But those scenarios like that, they give the whole program a bad rep when that's not everybody. Again, you can get a great tenant or you can get a terrible tenant. Like with cash, you can get a great tenant or a terrible tenant. So I'm not going to say, oh, Section 8 is terrible, they'll tear your stuff up. Nope. I'm not one of those people to judge everybody based off a few's action. I went over a few pros and cons, but this is the most important that's going to make or break you. Your screening process. The people that I see get hurt the most where renting to Section 8 is the people who just rent to somebody because they have a Section 8 voucher. They have no screening process. They don't do any references or anything. Oh, you got Section 8? Oh yeah, you can move in. And they just do simple like that. Those are people I see that get dragged through the mud. But as long as you have a good screening process and you understand what you're looking for, you would be okay. You could get a great tenant, all right? Some people, property managers included, they have no clue what they're looking for, right? They're in a lower middle class part of town or just AKA the hood, right? And they looking at people credit scores, like, and concerned about that. Dude, they're in the low income part of town, all right? You ain't gonna see 700 and 800 credit scores, okay? They're lower middle class part of town. You're not gonna see those 700, 800 credit scores. Of course, you're gonna see poor credit scores, but that's not what you're focused on. You're focused on job stability. How long have they been in this job? If they did switch jobs, are they in the same industry? Okay, all right. Now, have they had an eviction within 5 years? Okay. Is there a criminal background? Is a criminal background older than 10 years, etc.? You need to know these things and know what to look for. Who's all on the lease, etc.? Who's over 18? You need to know this. You need to have a process and know why you're doing these things. Because the people who have a good screening process, regardless if it's a cash tenant or if it's a Section 8 tenant, those are the ones who succeed. The people who just say, oh, I got the money, can I move in? I'll pay you your 1 month and your security deposit, which happens every income tax season. People got money, they move it to a spot, and then that landlord only get those 2 payments and not another payment, and they're dealing with a headache. All right. Section 8 is just people just, oh, I got a Section 8 voucher. Oh, okay. Start the application. We're going to start the process, and you let the person move in. They tear up your property, and you mad at Section 8 when you should be mad at yourself because your screening process is terrible. All right. You don't have one, and that's how you succeed in the rental process, right? You got to have a process. Hey, but let me know your thoughts. Is this something that you would like to pursue, getting into Section 8 rentals? All right. Let me know below. In the meantime, make sure you watch the video next to me on the Section 8 crisis. I'm Nasser, AKA the Real Estate Guru. I'm not a guru, I'm a guru because I actually do this business.